Good morning. Good morning. All right, let me get everything going and welcome in. I'm glad you're here. Go ahead and say hello and let me know that you're here live. And if you're here for the replay, you can actually say hello and put hashtag replay. I would greatly appreciate it. It's nice to see when people do show up and get a connection with the message. Making sure this is live. Give me just a second. All right. Well, hold on. Where I'm at. Here we go. When people do show up. All right. Perfect. All right. So, good morning. Good morning. So, like I said, I'm really glad that you're here. Whether you're live or on the replay or catching this later. But before we do anything else, I want to invite you to just let's take a nice slow breath with me. Go ahead and take in a nice deep breath. And let it go. Oof. Let your shoulders drop. Let the day pause for a moment. No matter what time of day you're watching this, give it a pause. Now let me ask you a question. What do new shoes, a treadmill, and a bill have in common? Because over the last bit, I've almost bought the shoes. I've almost put money toward the treadmill. And I've almost paid a bill. But I didn't do any of them. And the reason why has nothing to do with the money. And everything to do with receiving. So this is my story I'm going to share with you. And I've shared a little bit in post right after Christmas or right before Christmas and everything. But I had a friend of mine that gave me $50 as a Christmas gift. And when she gave it to me, she specifically said, not for groceries, not for bills, not for something responsible or practical. It was, use this on yourself. And here's the honest truth. I still haven't spent it. That $50 is sitting in my wallet right now. I've picked it up. I've held it. I've imagined what I could do with it. I've almost bought a pair of shoes. Now, actually, I'd have to put some with it, but I almost bought the shoes. And I almost put it toward a treadmill. And I almost used it for something that made sense. And every single time I got close, something showed up. A bill appeared. A need surfaced. And a familiar voice chimed in and said, well, this would be more responsible. And suddenly, this gift that I was given felt heavy, full of responsibility, and not joyful. Have you ever had that experience before? It didn't feel fun. Interesting, right? It felt heavy. And that's when I realized this wasn't about the money. And I was ready to reframe things. So here's something I want to offer you today. When something feels harder than it should, it's usually not about the thing itself. Now, we've talked about this a lot, and this is something that I work with my clients for. Most people come to me for coaching and hypnosis for an issue that they have. And the issue is usually the symptom of what's going on underneath the surface and not the real issue. So like I said, This $50, if it had been really about just the $50, it would already be gone, right? Because bills are loud. They shout at you, right? And urgency can be very persuasive. And I will say, I had made the commitment when my friend gave that to me that I would honor her wishes, because what happens to me a lot of times, and I had clients gift me money over the holidays, and a lot of that money I spent to buy Christmas gifts for other people and not on myself, right? Maybe you do the same thing. But responsibility knows exactly how to get our attention. But joy, joy kind of whispers at us. So this money wasn't asking to be managed. I was specifically told, spend it on you for something frivolous. But for the life of me, I couldn't think of a frivolous thing to spend it on. To me, even the shoes felt like a frivolous thing for some reason. So what was this asking of me, right? The money was asking to be received. And that's where the discomfort lived. Because receiving without earning, remember, without earning, fixing, or justifying can feel unsafe for many of us, right? And that may be you. And the thing is that there have been times in my life that it was almost a badge of honor to have worked exceptionally hard for the money that I had. Like a badge of honor. I deserved it because I had worked so friggin' hard, and it still wasn't enough, right? Weird, don't you think? Especially if you're the person that's been the responsible one. And I remember one time many years ago, I was having some financial difficulties. And I would talk about how hard I was working for everything I did and how I didn't spend money on anything that wasn't the bills. And I didn't have enough. And it felt like that was something that made me a better person in a way. Just think about that. Our mind becomes accustomed to a certain thing, a certain outcome. I had been the strong one, been the responsible one, the one who figures things out. So what I want to share with you today are 3 things that I learned through this that I'm going through right now about this $50, right? It's the silliest things that will bring up limiting beliefs. The silliest things. But I've had different pieces of this limiting belief for a very, very long time. So, lesson 1. Like I said just a moment ago, if it were really about the money, it would already be gone. When we hesitate, negotiate, or delay, it's often because we've touched a belief, not a budget. And what do those beliefs look like? It can be beliefs like, I should be careful with good things, right? What if I waste it and then I see something I want better? Right? What if something else comes up that I need that for? So that pause that you feel doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means your system is paying attention. The pause is information, right? Information is good. So we need to pay attention. So lesson 2, responsibility can sometimes be avoidance in a respectable outfit. So what are you avoiding, right? Responsibility is praised. Like I said, I thought it was a badge of honor that I was responsible. I didn't spend money frivolously on anything. I put all my money toward the bills. And I felt like that's what I was supposed to do. And it was rewarded, right? It's often mistaken for maturity. But sometimes responsibility isn't wisdom, it's fear dressed up nicely. Now, I'm not saying if you don't have the money to pay your bills that you're supposed to be spending it off willy-nilly somewhere else. I'm not giving you that kind of advice, right? Because we do want to be respectful of our money. We want to honor our money. And just throwing it away is not the answer either. We gotta work here. But paying the bills feels safe. And it is safety, right? That's one of the things. If we don't pay the bills, where are we, right? And choosing joy can feel risky because somewhere inside there may be an old agreement. We talk about agreements a lot, right? We have internal agreements that we have no idea about. We didn't, something happened in our life and we didn't say, oh, I think that's an agreement that I'll hold on to forever. No, it sneaks in. It just becomes part of our thought process, our subconscious mind, and it hangs on. So maybe it's an old agreement that says, if I choose myself, something bad will happen. But here's the reframe I want you to hear. Choosing yourself isn't irresponsible. It's respectful. You're teaching your nervous system that good things don't automatically disappear. That's not indulgence. That's healing, right? So, like this friend gifted me with the $50, and the $50 is small, really. I mean, it was a wonderful gift. I so loved it and appreciated it. And who knew that that one thing was going to bring all of this stuff up in me? But it has, right? I was a single parent from the get-go with my son. My husband and I actually split up when I was pregnant. When he was born, it was all my responsibility. And so I felt that everything that came in was either for him or for the bills, not for me. That became my way of life for a very, very long time, to where if I spent any money on me, I felt guilty for days, weeks, months. Sometimes I would buy something for me, and it could be something as simple as a pair of shoes. And then I would see the bills and I would think, oh my gosh, I made a mistake, and I would take them back. There was so much of that that went on for me. And this little $50 gift has reminded me of what all that is, right? So, lesson 3, you don't break limiting beliefs by force. You loosen them with awareness. So, this has been a really good awareness episode in my life, right? Because until she gave me that gift and said, you cannot use that for bills, you have to use it for something frivolous for you, I hadn't even recognized how much gifts I had received that I didn't use for me at all. Didn't even notice it. Maybe there's something going on with you that you haven't noticed either. But awareness, that'll help you. So awareness is the exhale moment. And you don't have to solve this today as much as we may want to, right? And you don't have to make the right choice. You don't even have to spend the money yet. See, that's the thing. That's still in my wallet. I've just tucked it in the back with it to just kind of marinate in my mind. And it reminds me, I remember years ago, there was a thing that Abraham Hicks had on one of her YouTube things I saw, or maybe I did see her in person a couple of times. Maybe it was one of those. I don't remember. But she said to take that money, take a little bit of money, stick it in your wallet, and spend it in your mind over and over and over. And it would kind of give you the feel of spending it. Well, I did that. The thing is, even sometimes that would make me feel or have me feeling guilty. Because if I really spent it on that and then something came up, so even the imaginary spending could bring up things for me. But the thing is that right now we're working through this. I'm working through this. And if this resonates with you, please let me know, because it's definitely an important thing that we have a better or a different money mindset to take us into 2026, right? It's just right here. And I, for one, want to go into the new year having released a little bit more of the things that are holding me back. So like I said, you don't have to spend the money yet. The work in this moment is noticing. So the moment you see the belief negotiating with you, right? You don't want to spend that. What if? You don't want to do that. What if? That's being frivolous. What would people think? Being aware, its grip softens, because awareness is the wedge. Compassion is the lever. And that's how real change happens, right? So I want to ask you gently, where else in your life are you doing this? Because I guarantee you, if you're doing it like me with money, you're doing it somewhere else too. Where are you postponing joy in the name of responsibility? Maybe it's rest. You don't give yourself time to rest and recalibrate. Maybe it's pleasure. You don't give yourself the opportunity for pleasure. And you know, it's interesting because as I've been working through this, and I recently had joined a in-person book club in my area. And we haven't met that often. We met again yesterday. But one of the things that I had not given myself permission to have pleasure on was reading a book that had nothing to do with business or mindset. Weird, right? I used to read all the time. When I was a kid, my father would take my books away and hide them till I got my chores done, because otherwise I would sit and read and not do anything. I would just read all the time. I loved it. And I still love it. But for whatever reason, I had stuck this thing in my mind because I love to learn, that suddenly it was like that was the only thing that was important about reading. But joining this book club has kind of opened that up a little bit more. And for a long time, the only time I would frivolously read books was when I was on vacation, because that's when you step away from your everyday life, right? I would take several books because I knew I had time to read then, and I wanted to read something that was just for joy, for pleasure. So now I'm in this book club, and I am excited about each book that we've been reading. I've even read books in between those books. And it's a very different feel, right? So are you stepping away from pleasure? Maybe it's asking for help. Maybe it's allowing yourself to have ease in your life, for things to be easy. And it's not because you can't, but because old rule is still quietly running your show. You don't need to rip it up. You just need to see it. So I'm going to give you your affirmation. Just a moment. Let me pull it up here. Hold on. Give me just a second. All right, so our affirmation for today, I am safe choosing myself. That seems so simplistic. It should be something that we all know. But inside, deep inside, not really. And maybe money is not the thing for you. Maybe it's something totally different. Only you know, right? But this is a great affirmation for every one of us. And remember, anything that comes after the words I am, we're claiming as truth, and we're honoring that. And our subconscious mind is saying, okay, then let me make sure that I can see that everywhere we go. And it's going to start pulling information to make sure that that is valid and true. I am safe choosing myself. So make sure that you write that on your sticky notes, your index card, the screensaver on your phone. Put it somewhere that you see it today and every day. I am safe choosing myself. Let the power of that statement really, really get in, right? Use it. It's powerful. All right, so now I'm going to share the journal prompt. Let's see if I can get this to, some of it may be cut off because it is a long one. Oh, it did good. All right, so here is our journal prompt. Where in my life am I postponing joy in the name of responsibility? And if you're like most people, there's more than one, right? Just see what is there, what comes up. And then what am I afraid would happen if I let myself fully receive freely without explanation? I mean, when it comes to relationships, a lot of times people feel that relationships are hard. And so they feel like if they get into a relationship and it's too easy, that somebody's not being honest, something's wrong, they didn't deserve it. There's all the same phrasing that I just said about the money happens in every avenue of our life, even our health, right? So what is it for you? And what I always recommend is that you get out your journal, you get out your notebook, and you put the date, the affirmation, and the journal prompt. And hold on, let me, checking right here. So like I said, what I always recommend is you to get your notebook out, your journal out, put the date, the affirmation, and the journal prompt there, right? And then we've got a process that we go through. But just remember, joy doesn't need justification, even though we try to justify it. I allow good things to come to me with ease. Let that land. So where in my life am I postponing joy in the name of responsibility? What am I afraid would happen if I let myself receive fully, freely, without explanation? If I trusted that I am supported, what would choosing myself look like today, even in a small way? So the process that I always recommend, and those that have been part of my world for a while, you know this, but I'm going to repeat it because there are new people that come in all the time. You've got it written down in your journal, your notebook. Your subconscious mind already knows what it is. And then you set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes. 15 minutes is better than 10, but 10 is better than none, right? And then you start your timer, fall into your breath. And all you're really wanting to do is be focused in the moment. You're going to breathe in and breathe out. And that's just to ground you here. So if you put your feet on the floor, get grounded even more. Have your eyes closed and just listen to your breath. And what happens a lot of times with a lot of people is that they're listening to their breath and then suddenly they realize that they're off on a tangent with their thoughts. They're somewhere else. They're thinking about things that need to be done, things that have done. Maybe they're analyzing some of what we've just talked about. The thing is, as soon as you recognize that, you come back to your breath so that you're back in the moment. Because you can't think two thoughts at the same time. And what we want is to just really allow that internal voice, that God voice, that intuition, our subconscious mind to be speaking to us, right? And so when we are doing all of our chatter that we do all the time, all that voice is going on, but we can't hear it. So we want to just quieten things down so that we can hear it. And then when your timer goes off, you pick up your pen, your pencil, and you just write. You brain dump whatever shows up. No judgment, no critique. You just write. This is just for you. It's not for anybody else. It's just for you. And I want to remind you that sometimes growth doesn't look bold. It could be like me. Sometimes it looks like a $50 bill sitting in your wallet. Maybe there's something going on. It's not the $50 bill for you. It's something else, but it's teaching you something about safety, worth, and receiving. And like I said earlier, awareness is momentum. Gentleness is progress. No matter what's going on, you're not stuck. You're becoming, and you're remembering. There's probably been a time that maybe you did feel safe with whatever it is, but you learned through different circumstances, and it really doesn't matter what they were. What matters is what you do now, right? So I would love to hear how this lands for you. I would love to know, what are you remembering? What are you allowing yourself to be, to do, to have? And as always, I want to remind you that life is delicious. And I will see you next Monday with another, see, where are we right now? That would be in the first Monday of 2026. So how exciting will that be? There's no telling what we'll be coming up with then. And in the meantime, if there's anything that's on your heart, on your mind that you want me to maybe talk about, then all you need to do is reach out. You can put something in the comments or you can send me a direct message, and I would be more than happy to tailor one of our Monday lives to that, maybe make some post about it. But as we're going into this new year, I want to say from the bottom of my heart that I am eternally grateful for all of you for being here. And a lot of times you don't get on the live, but you do watch the replay. I see that, even if you don't put hashtag replay. And that I am very grateful for. And if you want to share with some of your friends and invite them in to the next Monday live, perfect. I would love to have more people just like you. So like I said again, life is delicious, and I will see you soon. Mwah.